So folks, today I'm going to teach you all about modal verbs. Modal verbs are a very select group of verbs in German. There are 6 of them and they follow their own rules, okay? So they're very much a family of verbs that together all follow the same rules but don't follow the same rules as all the other verbs. So in English, they are to want to have to, or to must, to be able to. So I can, for example, be allowed to be supposed to, and to like to, right? And the thing that is different about them all, there's the German versions of them, they are used a lot, but the way that they are structured is very different. And the thing that's most important about them is that they are almost always used with a second verb, an infinitive form of a second verb at the end. So for example, if you think about it in English, I can swim, I can play the trumpet, and there's always another verb. I have to be home by 6. I am allowed to drink alcohol at the weekends. I want to go to Germany. I am supposed to be doing my homework. I like to eat chips. Okay, there's always, not always, but nearly almost always another verb that goes with those verbs, and it's the very same in German. So the reason they're called modal verbs is because they have usually another verb attached to them at some point. When you use a modal verb in a German sentence, you usually use another verb, and the second verb is the infinitive form of the verb. In other words, the bit that you find in the dictionary. And where it's different to English, you can see that very clearly here by this example, is that the infinitive goes at the end of the sentence. So whereas in English, I want to go is together, in German, the to go part is at the end. So ich will ins Kino gehen. I want to go to the cinema. So you're saying, I want to the cinema to go. Okay, so again, with German, it's word order that makes things different. Okay. So this is just taking you through the 6 different modal verbs and how you would write them in German. So wollen, to want to, if you notice there that there are a couple of things that are very different about them, and I'll show you that maybe later when you see them all together. But it's ich will, so there's no e ending for a start, so that's very different in the present tense to what we would normally have. Du willst, okay, so a st ending, and sie will, and you'll see this in all the other ones as well, but the ich part of the verb with modal verbs, with these 6 modal verbs, is the same as the and sie part. And then it goes back to our usual pattern. So ihr wollt, wir wollen, Sie wollen, and Sie wollen. So I want to go to Paris. Ich will nach Paris fahren. Okay. Müssen, to have to. Just check it. Yeah. Müssen, to have to. Same again. Ich muss. Notice the umlaut has gone. So the infinitive has an umlaut in it. To have to or to must. But it goes in that ich part. Du musst, and the sie and s muss. So again, the ich part is the same as the and sie and s part. And then we go back to our usual pattern of the present tense with our t, yen endings and the umlaut still there. So I have to help my mum in the kitchen. Ich muss meine Mutter in der Küche, helfen. Okay. Können, to be able to or to can. So ich kann, du kannst, sie and s can. So again, these 2 parts are the same form of the verb, which is very, very different to your regular present tense verbs. Ihr könnt, wir können, sie können, sie können. My sister, that should just be can play golf well, not is can play golf well. Meine Schwester kann gut Golf spielen. Dürfen, to be allowed to. Ich darf. Du darfst. Sie and es darf. Right, those 2 the same. And then back to ihr dürft, wir dürfen, sie dürfen, sie dürfen. We are allowed to go to the disco, wir dürfen in die Disco gehen. Sollen, to be supposed to. Ich soll, okay. I am supposed to, or I should. Du sollst, sie and es soll. And then ihr sollt, wir sollen, sie sollen, sie sollen. So what are we supposed to do this evening? Was sollen wir heute Abend machen? Mögen, to like to. So we'll know this, probably recognise this verb more frequently in the conditional tense, where it's ich möchte, I would like, and that's the conditional tense of that. But ich mag, I like, so ich mag Tennis spielen, I like to play tennis. She likes eating fish. Sie mag Fisch essen. And then again, of course, you've got your ich and your er, sie and s part the exact same. And then back to the usual pattern. Ihr mögt, wir mögen, sie mögen, sie mögen. Okay. So they're only irregular in the singular form. Okay. So if we drew a line, just change the colour of this. If we drew a purple line, a moment, just under there, right, you'll notice they are only irregular in the singular form, okay? And these two parts here are the same. So ich and er, sie and s part are always the same in modal verbs. But underneath here, they all follow the regular present tense endings as you would expect. Okay. Same with these three. Okay, slightly different setup here, but same thing. I'm going to change that wollen. It automatically corrects it to woolen. I'm going to change that back to wollen at the end of this video. So what do these sentences mean? So I would like you to pause the video now and try and translate these sentences. So pause the video, give yourself maybe 4 to 5 minutes to be able to complete these and try and translate these sentences. Now you don't need to look up every single word if you're unsure of meaning. You're better to look up the infinitives of the verbs and then work it out from there. So tragen, gehen, essen, machen, gehen. So pause the video now. Okay, so the first one, ich muss eine Uniform tragen. I must wear a uniform. I have to wear a uniform. Next one, wir können um 3 nach Hause gehen. We can go home at 3 o'clock. Wir können um 3 nach Hause gehen. I'm not allowed, sorry, watch that nicht there. Better pay attention to that actually. Nicht essen. So I am not allowed to eat in the classroom. Ich darf im Klassenzimmer nicht essen. Wir sollen 3 Stunden Hausaufgaben machen. We are supposed to do 3 hours homework, or we should do 3 hours homework. And then the last one, will ins Kino gehen. He wants to go to the cinema. He wants to go to the cinema. Okay. Now you're doing the opposite. You're going to try and use your modal verbs. So you can go into class notes and check your grammar notes for this. There's a modal verbs grammar note section and there's a modal verb lesson in there as well. Everything is in the grammar section of your class notebook. Okay, so now try to put these sentences into German. Again, a good, maybe this one will take a wee bit longer, so 5 to 7 minutes on this one. So pause the video. Okay, so what am I supposed to do? So we've got a modal verb there, we've got supposed to, so we know it's soll. So soll ich, what, was, and then to do machen or tun. So was soll ich machen or was soll ich tun? T-U-N, either of those verbs would do there. He's allowed to go to the cinema, so he is allowed, darf, not ist dürfen, never ever that. Remember present tense in German, 1 form, and in 3 forms in English. So he is allowed is darf, then to go to the cinema, ins Kino, and then to go goes at the end, gehen. So darf, ins Kino gehen. She has to stay at home. Sie muss, so has to, must, sie muss zu Hause bleiben. We are allowed to go into town. We are allowed, wir dürfen, into town, in die Stadt gehen. Wir dürfen in die Stadt gehen. We are able or we can play hockey. So wir können Hockey spielen. And you'll notice there we've got our modal verb infinitive, modal verb infinitive at the end, modal verb infinitive at the end, modal verb infinitive at the end, and last one, modal verb, it's not going to let me underline it, infinitive at the end. There we go. Okay, so the rule is fairly straightforward, and once you've learned all the different parts of the modal verbs and what they all mean, modal verbs are actually fairly straightforward in German. They're not one of the more complicated ones. Vielen Dank.